Do that. Hey guys, it's Hegemony here, and today I wanted to go over Pillar of the Cage God, how it works, what items work well with it, and it's a question that's asked in stream all the time of why use Pillar, and it's one of the unique items that I would consider something like an heirloom item, like in World of Warcraft, where the weapon will level with you. And to start off, let's look at the pillar itself to understand its capabilities. So you get 12% implicit block chance, which is pure defense. It's block chance is one of my favorite defensive stats. You have 1% increased area of effect per radius per 20 int. So what does that mean? So I have almost 120 int, like flat int. So that means I have a bonus 6% increased area. That's important when thinking about Pillar, because Pillar is a weapon that scales with all stats. For every 10 dex that I have, which I have 205, I get 1% increased attack speed. So I essentially have 20.5% increased attack speed. And last but not least, you have strength, which is the key winner to why Pillar scales so damn well. So you have 16% increased physical weapon damage per 10 strength. Now this is multiplied by all the flat physical that you have on gear or the pillar itself. So you see how my pillar has 24 to 40, and one of my rings has 7 to 11, and another one has 6 to 12, and then my Mega Nords has 10 to 20. So flat fizz is all going to multiply by this strength value. So not only does it say 16%, you actually get 18%, because for every 5 strength you get 1% melee physical damage. And so that translates to every 10 strength you get 18% total. The 2 from the the regular, and then an additional 16% increase. So this is why Pillar scales so damn well. Another way to think about it is think about face breakers. Stuff that would be good for face breaker would be very good for Pillar. So we'll just take my current strength. Let me share my screen. Oops. 574 times 18. So I'm getting 10,000. Yeah, 10,800 or 10,333 increased physical damage. Face breakers go to what? 800 to 1,000, right? This is not right. This is not right, by the way. 18 times, sorry, 57.4. There you go. 1,033 increase percent. I don't know why I said 10,000. I didn't carry the decimal. 57.4 times 18, and that's how you get 1,033 increased physical damage. Then it gets multiplied by flat. So when we want to talk about items, Bringer of Rain, this is the item that I was planning to use, does 30 or 20 to 30 increase flat fizz. This is going to get multiplied by all your physical damage. So this is a very good, it's an automatic 6.5 link, what we call it, like, because a blind is technically like a 7th link, but then these are like only level 18. So it's still an awesome helm for this, giving you that extra block chance, giving you 10% chance to gain endurance charge per block when you successfully block, and then 15% passive block chance. So using something like Bringer, or you can use something like Death's Oath, which is also good, but it has a drawback, and the drawback is for every kill you get, you take a degen of chaos damage. So you need to have good chaos resist to compensate, or good life regen. This also has physical life leech, but the key kicker here is the attack speed and the all stats. So when we go to look at the tree, and I actually pick up this node, 15% increased melee physical is actually less than 10 strength. I would get more from a 10 strength node than just a 12% increased physical. I'm like 6 short. I'm shortchanged, and also strength gives you health, so that's also a nice bonus. So all stats, if I get 50, like a perfect death oath, it's going to give me 2.5% area. It's going to give me 5% attack speed on top of the 10 to 15, and then it's going to give me a fuckload of increased physical damage. And it has a nice degen aura, so when you're nearby enemies, it will degen them with chaos damage. Okay, so when we think pillar, we think of, okay, we're gonna get benefits from bunch of int. So we think of area, we're gonna get bonus area. So we think of what's gonna get bonus area. Some good spells are or skills are sweep, ground slam, and cyclone. Those are the probably the top three as far as area with two-handed weapon. So for all these builds that I'm going to go over in other videos, I'll go through each of them and how I use cyclone and how I use sweep and how I use ground slam. But for the most part, they all use this ability amplify, and it's relatively easy to get to. This one is the duelist, which is sweep base. I wanted to go over a couple more items that would be good with a pillar. Astramantis is all stats. It's a bunch of all stats, up to 116% all stats, and that minus 4 physical damage taken on attacks is kind of like armor or extra physical mitigation. However, this thing is pretty damn expensive. This amulet is like 7+ exalts, depending upon the role, and depending upon it, if it's legacy where it has the 20, it'll be even more expensive. However, in this build, I chose Carnage Heart. Why? Because Carnage Heart gives me up to 40 all stats on the affix, not the implicit. That's not including the implicit. Then you get up to 20% all resistances, and then you can get 7 to I believe 10% life leech. This will take care of a lot of problems you might have with all res, stats, and you can use this at level 20. So it's an insane leveling weapon. Don't need to worry about life leech on gear. Don't need to worry about using the life leech gem. Just use a Carnage Heart and it's fucking baller. You also have the extra gore feature, which is an added visual effect. Meganords, these go hand in hand. Probably the 3 most important uniques is the Carnage Heart, the Meganord, and the Pillar as far as getting going with a very fast, very high throughput, clear speed pillar build. And the Meganords, because it has a massive amount of strength, you can get 35, 25, and then the 10 to 20 flat fizz. This costs around about an exalt, maybe 2. Carnage Heart, I bought this for 10 chaos, very very cheap. They're like 10 to 15 chaos on Nemesis. And the pillar itself, I bought it 6 linked for 8 exalts on Nemesis. I believe they are like 25 on standard, and if you just get a regular pillar on standard, it's a chaos. So you can 6 socket it and try to do 5 or 6 link it yourself. So overall, very cheap. Belly of the Beast I bought for 12 chaos. It took me 960 jewelers to 6 socket it and 21 fusings to 5 link it. This is just a secondary thing that you can use to level up with. It starts at level 46, so it's a good thing to get life, flask life recovery rate, because I only use 1 life flask. All res, max life, and some armor and evasion. And it's nice because it's easy to roll green and red to get your faster attacks. All your beautiful red gems, added fire, weapon, melee, physical, even weapon LE for a single target ability. But you'll also want to use something like Slither Pinch. Slither Pinch is also very 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 cheap, but it solves the mana problem. So how are you going to go about getting your mana back? And it's through Mana Leech. Slither Pinch takes care of a lot of that. It gives you 49 dex up to 50, which is up to 5% attack speed because we're using Pillar. Then you get another 5% increased attack speed, and then the life and Mana Leech was just bonus. Honestly, you're going to hit so hard and your life is not going to be able to keep up with the amount of life leech you get, especially at the early levels. So you're just going to cap out. So Carnage Heart is the main life leech or life source to sustain, and Slither Pinch I mainly use for the insane attack speed, which is 10% attack speed and 2% mana leech. Plus, it's nice because it's also easy to color. It's armor evasion, so you get plenty of greens, plenty of reds. Line eye pause, 60 up to 60 on both sides. These are perfect actually. And this is going to essentially give me, let's see, 6 times 18. Let's pull out the calculator. 108% increased physical damage, and then it's going to give me 6% attack speed. So we'll just take a look at what kind of effect line eye pause and different pieces of gear and how it actually scales when you look at the numbers. So I'm just going to go to docs, and we're going to look at my heavy strike is 8900 DPS. If I take off line eye pause, which it just has my cast on crit, so there's nothing that's going to add to my DPS as far as gems. So 8907, I take off my line eye pause, I lose like 1200 DPS, almost 1200. It's a significant DPS loss for just 60-60 and then the 12 to 24. Let's take a look at this ring. This ring does 7 to 11 flat fizz and gives me 42 strength, both which would scale immensely with pillar. I'm going to take off this ring. We're at 8907 again. I take off that one ring, and you can see how much I drop. Around 1700, a little less than 1700, 1650-ish DPS for just these two simple stats, which was flat fizz and strength. This doesn't even have health on it. So I mean, the jewelry doesn't have to be amazing. You just want something with all stats, strength, flat fizz to scale that damage. Weapon elemental doesn't matter too much. Obviously getting mana leech is going to be huge, especially for those early levels. Once you start hitting really hard and you're able to support plenty of strength and plenty of dex, plenty of good heavy hitting hits, then your mana leech starts to get better, so you don't need as much. So right now I'm only running on 2%, but I believe before that I did run on 2% mana leech on top of the slither pinch, so I had 4. And even then it could get a little clunky at times, but for the most part, if you scale your physical damage, the pillar will work very well. And as far as if you wanted to go ham with pillar, this is a helmet that you could use right here. It's called Abyssus. 40 to 60 physical damage, 20 to 25. This is the ultimate like damage that you're gonna get on a pillar. Also, you can get 100 to 150 crit multi, which most pillar builds will go resolute technique, so this is not too much of a deal. But there's a pretty big